So again, what's the price of it?
The net price would be probably insignificant compared to what people are paying in taxes and copay.
Okay, still not hearing the number, but we got to move on.
107.7 Pulse FM, home of the 2019 federal election for Surrey and its neighboring cities. Hashtag Pulse Politics.
The Canadian federal elections are coming up on October 21st. Today's featured riding is Surrey Centre. My name is Tara Lopez. We're joined by Pulse FM's news director, Kevin Diakiw. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Tara.
We have candidates from the NDP as well as the Liberals and the Green Party. We're still waiting on our Conservative candidate to join us today. But in the meantime, why don't we get started with a few introductions? We are just asking you to kindly mention your name and introduce yourselves to the listeners and the party that you're running for. Go ahead.
Good morning, Tara. My name is Sarjit Saran, and I'm running for the NDP.
My name is John Werring, and I'm running for the Green Party of Canada.
And Randeep Sarai, running for the Liberal Party of Canada.
Good morning, gentlemen. We are asking you to keep this boiled down to the dry ingredients. We're going to keep you down to a short time. What we do want to know is what motivates you guys to get into politics in the first place, and what you see as the top issue in the Surrey Centre riding. And perhaps we can start with Sarjit Saran with the NDP. What motivates you to get into politics, and what do you see as the top issue?
The big motivator for me is I was born and raised in a small town, and I had a very good upbringing in the Cowichan Valley. So for me, I was able to enjoy growing up, playing in dirt, having fun, and I felt safe. And when I moved to Surrey 20 years ago, I've never felt safe since moving here. There's a lot of problems out there, and I'm tired of watching the news and seeing people being shot. You're at a Starbucks or wherever, Tim Hortons, and you see people being shot in crime scenes. Shouldn't be happening. And so that's why I'm running, because I think there's a lot we can do, and I'm tired of the complacency.
Okay. And what are you hearing as the top issue in your riding?
Surrey Centre is, the top issue is gang violence. I knock doors 6 days a week, and the continuing theme is gang violence. Affordability is right up there, but gang violence, parents don't feel safe. Moms don't feel safe. People are worried. Are my kids going to come home safe? Is my partner going to come home safe? Those are the issues that people are concerned with.
Thank you very much, Sarjit. And John Werring with the Greens. Same question. What motivates you to get into this, and what do you see as the top issue in your riding?
Well, I've dedicated the last 37 years of my life to working to better society, both from an environmental and a social standpoint. I work for not-for-profit environmental organizations and for social justice organizations like the Pivot Legal Society, trying to better life for people. And what I see moving forward is that things are not getting better for people. In fact, people are struggling day to day to survive and to put food on the table. And the single biggest issue that I've seen nationally that is not being dealt with is the issue of climate change. And this is becoming a very central focus for people all around the world, not just in Surrey Centre. For Surrey Centre itself, the message that I'm getting is housing affordability and transit are the top issues. Not just housing affordability, but affordability on a day-to-day basis. I recently became a grandfather, and when I'm looking at how society is being run these days, I have a big fear that my grandchildren, if we don't deal with the issue of climate change moving forward, there's going to be environmental and economic chaos. And it's for them and for the kids of everybody out there that I have dedicated my current life to getting into politics.
Okay, great. Those are your motivators. Do I see folded in there that the environment would be your top issue?
The environment is the top issue for the Green Party of Canada and for myself, absolutely. If we don't fix the climate crisis right now, then all of these other issues that we're talking about will be moot.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, John Werring. Randeep Sarai, with the Liberals, and you're the incumbent, what is your main motivator for getting into this game, and what do you see as the top issue in Surrey Centre?
Sure, I was a young man when the gang violence in Lower Mainland started in the 90s. I recall Jesse Cadman, who died in 1993, would have been my age today, and I started actively being involved in high school, and then after university, Wally Opal asked me to help get the community involved to help fight this gang violence, and we started VERSA, South Asian Coalition Against Youth Violence, help start the Integrated Gang Task Force, promote the Bar Watch program in Vancouver, which was very successful in the South Slope. of Vancouver. And then since I've been moved into Surrey, this has been a primary issue, I think, and the community has really gotten behind it. I think the government is now getting it. We've invested a lot, over $7.5 million for Surrey's new SAFE program, the Surrey Anti-Gang Family Empowerment Center, as well as getting more tools that were as a result of the cutbacks of the previous government, giving the RCMP more money for a forensic lab, giving them more money to do border security and prevent guns and drugs from coming into this society. But I think the two big issues in the riding are probably housing affordability and then public safety, i.e. crime.
In that order?
In that order.
Okay. All right. That's excellent, guys. Thank you very much for that.
That wraps up our first segment right here on 107.7 Pulse FM. We're going to take a quick little 3-minute commercial break. And when we come back, what we're going to be doing is spinning this wheel of issues. So if you look right behind Kevin in the studio to the far end, you're going to find this massive wheel that we have different categories of topics that we want you candidates to be discussing. On it, transportation, healthcare, crime, the environment, jobs, affordability, housing, and many others. And after we come back from the break, we're going to be spinning that wheel of issues and asking you to give your 2 cents on each and every one, and if you were elected, how you would tackle those issues most efficiently. We'll be back in 3 minutes. The Canadian federal election is coming up on October 21st. Today's featured debate is Surrey Centre. We do have members of various political parties joining us in studio. From the Green Party, John Werring. From the Liberal Party, Randeep Sarai. The NDP, Sarjit Saran. We don't have Conservative Tina Bain in studio with us today, although she was invited to be on the show.
Invited and accepted, so she said she was coming.
Maybe she'll make an appearance. You never know. Or maybe she got stuck in traffic on the Portman Bridge or the Massey Tunnel. Who knows? All right, so let's spin this wheel of issues. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to be discussing different topics right here on Pulse Politics and picking our candidates' brains on how they best feel they're going to be tackling these very important issues to Surrey Centre. Are you ready for this, Kevin?
You bet. Let's go.
Ooh, it's looking like it's the environment.
And we're kicking off with John Werring from the Greens. Environment. How is it broken, and what are we going to do about it?
Well, we all know that climate change, or global climate change, is becoming a significant issue for everybody. Although many of us don't feel it on a day-to-day basis, it's certainly happening globally with more floods, more fires, rising sea levels, the sea becoming, changing chemical environment where it's becoming acidic and affecting all of our fish stocks. I'm an angler. I've been fishing salmon in rivers locally for years, and I'm just seeing massive stock declines. A lot of it is weather related, and the global climate issue needs to be addressed. It is the single biggest environmental issue that we're facing today. I mean, if we even want to talk about affordability, I think I look at the affordability index and everything that I have, and one of the biggest increases that I've seen in any of my bills is my home insurance, because of the amount of money insurance companies have to pay to fix all of these issues. So the Green Party has a very robust platform on how to deal with climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. We want to put an end to all of the oil and gas subsidies. We want to put a stop to any major infrastructure development related to oil and gas, and take the money and the resources that we save from that and put it in building renewable energy and increasing job growth in this country. The single biggest measure of job growth that is happening globally these days is in the renewable energy sector. And Canada, and Surrey, in fact, is very well poised to get involved in that. We have a significant number of our businesses that are involved in renewable energy and environmental issues, and we would hope to promote that within the community. So.
Thank you very much, John Werring. Now, I just got to ask you, and it always seems to come down to this, how are we going to pay for that? I mean, there's a lot of great promises in there, but these things all come with a dollar figure attached. How are we going to ever pay for
Well,
that?
if I just give you an example, we talk about oil and gas subsidies. One single company, Canadian Natural Resources, made over $22 billion in resource sales in 2018, and after all of their expenses and taxes was over $5 billion. They've got deferred taxes that they owe the government in over $500 million, and we are giving them $500 million a year in subsidies. That's $1 billion right there. And that's only one company. If you look at other companies across Canada like Bombardier and SNC-Lavalin and all of these big corporations that we're giving corporate handouts to, those billions of dollars can be turned into the money that we need to develop a whole new technology.
Thank you very much, John Werring. And Liberal Randeep Sarai, will go over to you with the same question. Environment, how's it broken and what do we do?
It's probably the biggest issue in Canada. We've got to work hard. I think it's a global issue. We put a price on carbon. Probably the most wise decision every economist, every environmentalist has said is probably the most effective tool to reduce greenhouse emissions. Right here in British Columbia, it's been tried and tested. We have a new goal to make Canada net zero in 2050, i.e. Making sure that we offset every amount of our emissions by green technologies. We have a natural climate solution. We want to plant over 2 billion trees, 200 million a year for the next 10 years, so to naturally help the climate. And we want a clean energy transition to help people from the oil sector and those that pollute fossil fuels to transition to clean tech without them losing their jobs. So example would be profits and taxes generated from oil and gas sector would be transitioned to create more clean tech energy sector jobs and workplaces. We'll also give a tax incentive. Anyone who is creating zero emission technology, they would have 50% reduction in their income taxes. So the corporation would get a 50% tax break on creating clean energy. That's a real motivator. The same thing has gone for clean vehicles, electric vehicles. Sales have gone through the roof with the incentives that have been given, and I think this same type of incentive will make the technology much better. Canada has an abundance of green energy, hydro, wind, solar, and we need to utilize those, and we need to give an incentive to our companies. When it comes to disaster relief, helping insurance and helping a natural disaster insurance fund that's federal, so that people who live in floodplains can know better.
Okay, thank you, Randeep. Sorry, and I'm going to go back to the same question I asked John Werring. That's a mammoth task, and it's going to be an expensive one. How do we pay for it?
So the price on carbon is one of the best ways. So you charge carbon and you give it to those that reduce carbon. It's a real simple math. The government doesn't take anything. It's robbing from Peter to pay Paul. It's in case of Robin Hood, taking it from those that pollute and incentivizing the other. It's like you have a choice today. You buy a car, you can buy a gas guzzler, you can buy an 8-cylinder SUV if you want, and you pay it when you go to the fuel pump, or you can buy an electric vehicle, get $10,000 back from the government, pay $3 when you fill it up, or you can pay $100 when you fill it up. So that's the incentive. It's a choice you have. You still have both choices.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And we go to NDP Sarjit Saran. So same issue. The environment. How do you see it as it is today, and what would the NDP do about it?
Well, I think these two gentlemen have done a great job in explaining where we're at today, but I want to focus on telling people that it's not everything is bad news. And what I mean by that is I feel proud of myself for recycling and trying to reduce my footprint. So I think we need to acknowledge that people do want to see a difference. They want to improve their environment. The NDP takes a different approach in the sense that we are trying to help the economy move in that direction. It's not about taxing, it's not about robbing anyone. It's about creating industry that helps us move from a intensive carbon situation to more of like electric and other type of resources or renewable energies that helps people go from a skilled trade or opportunity into something. You got to show people the light, and the light being, let's move from oil and gas, let's move to the new energy, wind energy, electric vehicles, for example. I was knocking doors a few weeks ago, and one of the students, probably around 17, said to me, hey, he goes, the government has so many vehicles federally, provincially, and municipally. Why can't Canada just build an electric car plant and make the government use electric vehicles in their daily operations? Look, what a great idea. You know, it's people are thinking outside the box. I don't think we should continuously punish people or tell them they're not doing enough. We've come a long ways. I remember throwing newspapers in the garbage when I used to deliver newspapers. And then it went to community recycle bins and then door-to-door service. We can do more, but we have to guide people in that direction. And it's not about punishing them. It's about creating new opportunities and moving people that direction.
Thank you very much for that. Now, you're talking about moving it over to clean tech. That's going to, I guess, involves incentivization. What kind of incentivization? How much is that going to cost?
Well, I think the same thing that John said here. It's about taking away the subsidies.
Yeah.
The Conservative government, the Liberal governments have highly subsidized oil and gas, and I don't fully understand why. But I think if we take that same subsidy and we do it as an investment, incentivizing people, it's going to allow us to move in that direction. These subsidies that the provincial government implemented for electric vehicles are a good start. But let's move forward. Let's create the opportunity. If the product's on the shelf and there's economies of scale, we won't need to incentivize. People will pick up. I think it's human nature to want to do something better and do the right thing.
Yeah. Thank you
You're
very much.
listening to
Yeah.
Pulse Politics. The Canadian federal election is happening on October 21st, and today's featured debate is Surrey Centre. We do have time to spin the wheel once again, our wheel of issues. So we're going to be asking our candidates who are here from the NDP, the Liberal and Green Party to respond to this next issue that is very important to the people of Surrey Centre. Let's see which topic this wheel lands on, and that would be affordability. You have 2 minutes each to respond.
Okay, we go to Randeep Sarai with the Liberals. Affordability is a big. You mentioned this is a big issue, and what were you going to do about it?
I'm glad I could talk about this. We've done the first national housing strategy, which housing advocates have been demanding for decades. It's a comprehensive, nonpartisan declaration document. It's incentivized into law now. We put $55 billion over 10 years, so $5 billion, almost $6 billion a year to motivate this. We're starting with helping provinces like BC create more housing for those that are homeless. When it comes to affordable rental, if you notice, we haven't had new rental stock built in this province probably for 40 years. We have a new affordable rental housing incentive, which gives cheaper interest rates and longer-term amortization to incentivize builders to create below-market rent housing. So if you market at 90% or less, there's over a dozen projects in Surrey Centre that are right now pursuing this. One already broken ground in Surrey. So this is a great incentive. The second is to get first-time home buyers, millennials, people who have just been recently divorced, to get their first home. And we know it's expensive. So the national plan came into effect September 1st for $570,000 approximately. The government will give you 10% on new construction for your down payment. We've lobbied that in British Columbia and Lower Mainland particularly, and we need a bigger amount because housing costs are higher. So it's been our pledge is $800,000 as of November 1st if re-elected, and that'll help you lower your payment by 10%, get your first home, and get your foot in the door so you can have a family and grow a family. These are the type of real incentives that are working. They're going to help get people in the door, and at the same time discourage others from entering or causing speculation. So we're introducing a foreign speculation tax on vacancy, which will be 1% for any foreigner who keeps a vacant house. So we want to incentivize people to buy housing for houses for people.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now, how many units of housing are we talking about over the 10 years that you're talking about there?
Oh, it's I believe it's 200,000 units.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, moving on to our next candidate.
Yes, we go to Sarjit Saran with the NDP. Same question, affordability.
Affordability comes in many different forms. Jagmeet Singh was our leader of the NDP, was in town this past weekend, and he made it very clear in our town hall. The first thing we want to do is cut your cell phone bill. I am surprised with how much we pay here. I've traveled in different countries, and we are basically paying more than double in many cases a month. And so right off the bat, you can save hundreds of dollars through a mechanism of controlling pricing. And it's what they've done in the U.S., they've done in other countries as Australia. Second thing is we talk about internet bills. We've all seen internet prices skyrocket. When internet first came out, it was $20-25 a month. And now on average, if you want to get just internet, it's $100. Or there's a promo, or there's a term. That's another thing. Internet is now an essential service in my eyes, and most of the people that are running for the NDP believe internet should be fully accessible and it should be at a rate that's reasonable. So we're going to put a cap on that as well. So again, right away, that's two ways to put money back in your pocket. Third thing is pharmacy bills. I was at an event, seniors event, 2 weeks ago, and I was talking to a pharmacist, and she said to me that she has hundreds of packages of medication sitting on the shelf because people can't pay for them. So you are paying for them through your benefits plan, box T40, that's your taxable benefit. You're paying through copay, or you're paying through deductible measures. We want to take all that out of the formula. We want to be the single buyer of pharmaceuticals and drugs and make sure every Canadian has access to that medication. So you can take what you need to get better, and you can be part of society and be contributing members of society. So those are 3 easy, quick methods to make sure that Canadians have money in their pocket. And when you add all that up, that is more than anyone else is offering right now.
Thank you very much. Now, what is the price tag on this pharmacare plan?
See, I've worked in human resources for 17 years, so when people say what's the price tag, I want people to understand that drug prices have gone up 40+%. So you have multiple buyers, millions of buyers in the market. But when you have a single provider, it's a different issue. When you go to a drug company and go, I'm going to buy 20 million vials of diabetic medication,
right,
you have a different price point. You're a single buyer. There's no one else to compete with. It's very different, right? So there's no bringing up the price. There's no demanding.
So I'm good. Again, what's the price of it?
The net price would be probably insignificant compared to what people are paying in taxes and copay.
Okay, still not hearing a number, but we got to move on. John Werring, same issue, affordability.
Well, I tend to agree with Sarjit that the affordability comes in many forms, and with respect to our Liberal colleague talking about housing is only one element. People need to put food on the table. They need to be able to pay rent. Not everybody can buy a house, and a lot of the people that are out there that are struggling these days are renters, and I think the single biggest factor for that is they just simply don't have enough income. They're working their fingers to the bone, and they're putting in extra hours, and the money is not coming in. The Green Party proposes to work with the Council of Canadian Governments to develop an indices across the nation in individual communities, and looking at an affordability index and putting together a guaranteed livable income for individuals. So seniors and people on the poverty line, that they will actually get a guaranteed level of income that will provide them with the money that they need to buy the basics. We will also bring into account a minimum wage, again, respective to different communities across Canada, so that there's actually a certain amount of money in people's pockets. And then on top of that, the issue of pharmacare, the Green Party is fully aware of that. We propose a national pharmacare plan as well to reduce the costs. And primarily, the target is to focus on the lower income levels, the seniors and the people at the poverty level. We want to eliminate poverty in Canada, and the only way to do that is to give people the money and the means that they need to draw themselves out of that.
Thank you for that. And I have to ask the same question I just asked Sarjit. What's the price of your pharmacare? Well,
the price of the pharmacare, our plan is fully costed. I think we're talking in the first year, it's close to $70 billion, and it's a lot of money.
Yep.
But over time, that amount of money will go down. As Sarjit indicates, when you start bringing in you're a single buyer, in the first year, the cost will be high. But our plan shows that over the 4-year project that the Green Party has moving forward, including pharmacare, that we will actually be heading towards a balanced budget by the end of the 4-year term. And our total output is less than the status quo. I mean, if the Liberals continue to spend money the way they're doing, it's just going to keep going up. So.
Okay.
You're listening to Pulse Politics, and as we wrap up our segment for today, we're at the featured debate, Surrey Centre. We have one final question for all of our candidates, and we're going to go in the order of the NDP, the Green Party, and the Liberals. That question is, we're only looking for either a one-word or one-phrase answer. What was your most favorite song from the 1990s? Go ahead.
Ace of Base, The Sign.
That is for the NDP, Sarjit Saran. And now for the Green Party, John Werring. From the 1990s, your favorite song or singer?
Yes, I don't know my brains. I don't really be happy.
That works. And now for the Liberal Party, Randeep Sarai.
I'm not a real music buff, so but I'll say Michael Jackson's Thriller.
That's a great song, just in time for Halloween, too. And the federal elections coming up so close to them. October 21st is when these elections are going to be taking place right here and across Canada. Today's featured debate has been Surrey Centre. My name is Tara Lopez, and Kevin Diakiw, Pulse FM's news director. We're going to be joining you again tomorrow because Surrey Newton is going to be the focus of our next debate. Got to say thank you very much to everyone who came into the studios today. Of course, the Conservative Tina Bain from Surrey Centre was not able to join us. However, for the NDP Liberal Green Party, thank you again for making the time to speak with us today, and we wish you the best on October 21st.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Get informed with the next debate tomorrow with Pulse Mornings between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. #Pulse Politics.